So in this video, I'm going to be going over how we're going to bring in an image, trace that, and attach that to our nameplate, as well as creating this oval base that fits on here as well. So stay tuned. First thing I want to do is I just want to move this down on my paper so that I've got more room up in the top. So one of the easiest ways to do that is I want to make sure that I select everything. So if I click and hold, I get this selection window. Some people will say it's a rubber band selection window. I just want to drag that over my entire nameplate so far, and that will allow me to select everything. Now I can click and drag this down, but I do want to keep it centered left to right, so that really the easiest way to move this down is just to push and hold down the arrow key, and it will nudge this all the way down towards the bottom of the paper. All right, leave a little bit of room down at the bottom, room that's about even to what you see on the sides. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I need to find the image that I'm going to go ahead and add to the top here. That's one of the hardest parts in doing this, is make sure that we find a good image. So the way that I'm going to find that image is I'm going to head over to Google, and I'm going to search for the image that I want. So I'm just going to search for the Mustang logo. I like to search for logos or clip art. Those tend to be some of the best images to look for. So you can see I've got some images here. What I want to do is click on this image button, and that's going to pull up a whole bunch of images for me. Now, one of the things that I want is I want a high quality image. So in doing so, what I want to do is I want to click this tools button here. That's going to give me a drop down. I want to make sure that my size is large, and most of the time I will search for black and white images. It just makes it a little bit easier when processing your image. So an image like this, it's a really nice Mustang, but for the size that we're working in, this will be extremely difficult to cut out, and a lot of the detail would be lost. So we really want something simple. I'm going to use this image here. I could also most likely use this image that doesn't have the words on it, but I'm going to use this image so I can also show you how we can end up removing this text. So I'm going to be able to cover both in this video. How to remove something from an image that you don't want. So the way to get this image is you just want to right click with your mouse, go down to copy image, click on that. Then you can go back to Corel Draw, and you want to right click again and go ahead and click paste. And that's going to paste in my image. And you can see I have to zoom out. This is a really large image. All right, I want that. The larger the image, the better it's going to process. So what I want to do with this image, do not resize your image. Work with it in whatever size it's pasted into Corel Draw. So from here, what I want to do is I want to go to trace bitmap. Again, make sure your image is selected. Go up to trace bitmap, click on that, and it will give you a little drop down option. Go to outline trace, and then go over to line art, and then go ahead and click on that. If you do happen to get a pop-up that's asking you to reduce it, just go ahead. You can reduce that size. Sometimes it will give you an option to keep the original size. If it does give you that, just keep the original size. So I did reduce this a little bit. It does take a little while to process these images, especially if they're larger images. And you can see this one's working right now. So this is what we have. My image has been traced. It did take a little while. It took a good 30 seconds or so. So the image has been traced. There's a couple things I want to do from here before I click OK. So I like to go over to colors, and you can see I have a couple different colors here. I want two colors. I want white and a black. So I'm going to click on this drop down up here where it says color mode, and I want to go down and select black and white. Alright, what that's going to do is give me two colors, black and zero black, which is white. Then I'm going to go back to settings. I need to make sure that delete original image is checked off, and I also want to check out remove color from entire image. I want to check both of those off. That's going to remove all of my background. If you look, I have this little checkerboard pattern. That checkerboard pattern represents nothing. That represents open space. Okay? And this is where you can really kind of see, if I zoom in, all right, if you look, okay, if you see this side, this is the original image. It's all pixeled, and this is nice and clean. That's what you want. That's going to give you those nice clean lines. So once I have that, I just go ahead and click OK, and that will give me my running Mustang that I want. Now I only want the running Mustang here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to remove these letters down at the bottom. So while I have this selected, I'm going to go up to Object. I'm going to go down to Group, and I'm going to go over to Ungroup All Objects, and I'm going to select that. Now it looks like nothing's changed. Okay, so I'm going to deselect my image. So just click somewhere outside of your image, and now I can go in and I can select each letter and use the delete key on my keyboard, and I can delete those. I can also drag my selection tool around them, all right, rubber band around them, and delete all of those images as well. So now I'm left with my running Mustang. So from here I can resize. Now when I resize this, I want to grab from the corner, not from the side and not from the top. I want to grab it on the corner handle so my proportions stay the same, and I can start to resize this and start to place it where I want. Okay, I'm going to shrink this down even a little bit more. All right, I will show you how to rotate as well. Okay, so from here, if I want to rotate this, okay, because I think what I want to do is I want the tail to actually be touching as well as one of the feet. So to rotate it, I'm just going to click on the image again, and you can see that my handles have changed. So now I'm able to rotate this down. Okay, now if I want to move, I click again, and now I can move that to where I want that to be. And I'm going to need to resize it so it still fits. That looks pretty good. So if you look, it's overlapping just a little bit here and a little bit here. So just like we did for the text, I want to remove the fill, and I want to give it an outline. So I'm going to go back to my object properties over here on the side. Again, you can see I'm constantly going back to these object properties. Right now I have my, this is my outline options for what I have currently selected. This is my fill. All right, so these are the two that we're going to use. So to give it an outline, right now my outline is none. So just click on this drop down, do 0.5 outline. Then I can go up, grab my fill, and I'm just going to click off for no fill. And you can see now I've got that outline with no fill. So to weld these two together, or to attach these two pieces, I'm going to push and hold the shift key. I'm going to select my outside rectangle of my nameplate, and you can see that my ribbon has changed, the options up there. So last time we used the front minus back, so let's try that one again, and you can see how my running Mustang disappeared. So I'm just going to Control Z because that obviously didn't work. Let's try front minus back. And now you can see my rectangle has gone away, so that didn't work. So what is going to work is the weld feature. So I'm just going to go ahead, click on that weld feature, and now you can see that it's attached at this point here and this point here. So I'm just going to click off of that, and that's going to deselect everything. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some type of base over here. I think I'm going to go with an oval base for this. So I'm going to click, drag out an oval. All right, this is a fairly large oval. I'm going to go back to my pick tool. I'm going to click on that again. I can rotate this a little bit. Click again, and that will allow me to get something that's just a little bit larger and still fit on that space. So I've got my base, I've got my Mustang attached, all right, and I've got my my last name on here. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm just going to go ahead, save my work, click my save button. It's going to save it, and stay tuned for the next video, which I'll be going over how to export this and submit.